on the continent 2 years later on D-Day.
A small gathering was held in downtown Port Colborne on Friday to remember those who fought in the Dieppe Raid. The Dieppe Raid took place on August 20th, 1942, and saw over 900 Canadian troops lose their lives on the French coastline.
It's important for me, and I think it's important for all Canadians to recognize the sacrifice of the men who served. And especially at this time with August 19th, tomorrow marking the 75th anniversary of Dieppe, and many local residents served, and some were from Port Colborne, and I thought it would be incumbent that we have a ceremony to recognize the 75th anniversary and those who served that we knew of from Port Colborne.
Gino Caperchione and Jack Grace both served in World War II. Both men are now in their early 90s, but still made a point to make it out to King George Park for the ceremony.
It seems like everybody's forgot about, the wars and that, but I don't forget because I've lost too many friends. I know I had two brothers who were in the service. My dad was the First World War, and I lost guys that went to school with it, never came back. So to me, it's something, that I'm never going to forget,
How would you say that World War II affected a community like Port Colborne?
Oh, at the time, Port Colborne and Hummerston, while they amalgamated, there weren't that many people here, and we had a big amount of people that were in the service. A lot of them were killed when they stopped and think about it. So it's something to be proud of, really,
Canadians made up 5,000 of the 6,000 troops that landed at dawn at 5 different points along a heavily defended 16-kilometer stretch of coastline. A small German convoy discovered the landing, and the ensuing firefight alerted the enemy. With the element of surprise gone, many of our troops were cut down in the surf. Some regiments were able to push forward, but were eventually forced to retreat. By battle's end, 2,200 returned to England, 916 lost their lives, and over 1,900 were taken prisoner.
You don't like to say that it was an awful mismatch, but I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
Do you know who
But
is
like you have to feel bad for those poor guys that had scaling those cliffs and that.
I've got a couple of Boy
I don't
Scout
know.
uniforms
But,
What are the lessons of Dieppe?
Well, it has been controversial. Some of them said that it was unnecessary, but I guess if you've been there, I guess you have a right to pass judgment, and if you lost someone. But I believe the techniques that they learned from there was instrumental in preparing for the D-Day landings on June 6, 1944. So it's important for us to pause and reflect, and as we wear this poppy, to remember those who paid the supreme sacrifice.
In Niagara, you're watching The Source.